Off to an amazing start here. I wonder if anyone, like, when they look up one of the games that I've LP'd and they find one of my videos on this channel, I wonder if any of them are disappointed when they hear the commentary. Especially because in some LPs, I wait, like, even a couple minutes before I start saying anything, because, you know, there's, like, a cutscene right at the beginning, and I don't want to, like, say hi and then just not talk, you know what I mean? I just like to... I like to yawn. I forget what I was going to say, but... yeah, I wonder if that disappoints anyone, because I know it does with me when I'm looking for things, but then again, I'm not usually looking for Let's Plays of games. I usually am looking for, like, long plays and just, like, gameplay footage. It's usually when I'm, like, trying to get a feel for a game to see if I, like, want to bother trying it or whatever. I really wish we could have had long plays back in Nam when I was in my renting video games era. Which I was just thinking about a moment ago because I was looking at a list of PlayStation 2 games because I was just thinking about PS2 games that I would like to try sometime. Not necessarily like for videos or whatever, just like in my life would like to play this. PS2 is probably my favorite console, so, and there are a lot of good, I say obscure games, but I really just mean games that aren't really on most people's radar when they think of, like, oh yeah, this is a game that you really need to play if you have PS2 and want a good PS2 game. But they still have things that, you know, I think I would find enjoyable. Fucked around with this part for about 200 years before I figured out that you're just supposed to do this. So, you're welcome for not subjecting you to that. Just got punched in the face to death. But yeah, whenever I'm usually am not looking for anything with commentary, and most people's commentary is annoying, and I say that also knowing that, you know, I probably have annoyed people looking for videos of these games with my commentary, because I can definitely imagine being very annoyed by, you know, you're just looking for some gameplay footage of Lego Star Wars, and then you click on my video and you skip to the part you want to see, and I'm talking about, like, Brexit. Why would I ever be talking about Brexit? But that's what I'm saying. It's that kind of thing. Like, why? Who wants to watch this? And the answer is not that many people. I love Shigo's little yell. Yeah! It's very funny. She likes to do it a lot because I press the button. But yeah, PS2 games, even when I play PS2 games that I didn't play as a kid or haven't played before, I still get a nice little fuzzy feeling when I'm playing PS2 games. Just the way it all looks and everything, it just reminds me of my heyday, because before the computer, outside of, you know, when I was really young, what was I doing on the computer? I was mostly playing original Sims, and eventually Sims Life Stories, which is basically just an extension of The Sims 2, and eventually Sims 3, but that was kind of, by that point, I had also dipped my toes into, like, emulation and such. Wasn't very good at it, but I dipped my toes. But yeah, I was mostly just playing early Sims, the, like, point-and-click SpongeBob games, Toon Twister 3D. I would really like to find a way to play that. I'd have to probably use a virtual machine, but I would really like to make a video about that game, because I dumped many hours into that game when I was a kid. That was the best $5 in a Scholastic magazine that I have ever spent. And by I mean my mom. But, yeah, that was pretty much all I was doing, was just PS2 games and that. I guess also Xbox games, because I had an Xbox, actually, for a long while before I had a PS2. But most of the Xbox games I had were also available on PS2. I have no idea how you're supposed to do that. I guess the answer is just timing, which I don't have, so I just decided to slice my own fucking tits off and just walk through the lasers. That's what they should have done in all those spy movies. Just why even bother going around? Just go through them. Unless it's the first Resident Evil movie, in which case you'll get cut up into little cubes. You know, they're not just like little sensors or little zappers. They'll actually cut your flesh. I've never seen that movie, but that part, I've seen that opening scene, and that part is really awesome and makes me want to see it. I'm sure it's not that great of a movie, and I'm sure that the sequels are progressively worse, because that's what happens. But I'd still like to check it out sometime. I don't really have any attachment to the Resident Evil series either, so I would just be going into it as a lover of silly cinema. But yeah, the PS2, you know, and Xbox kind of interchangeable games. Once I got the PS2, I basically just like bought a bunch of games that I had on Xbox, and so it's the same deal. Just this era of games, but particularly PS2 and Xbox stuff, because I didn't really play GameCube games all that much. We had a GameCube for a while, but it wasn't until several years into having a Wii that I started playing any GameCube games, and I really didn't play all that many of them. I bought a bunch, and that was back when I basically just bought whatever game I actually thought I could play that someone that I liked was LPing, and that was back when I watched Chugga Conroy, and he had just finished Thousand Year Door, so I bought that and played that for about 20 minutes, and I was like, oh, I don't like this kind of game. I'm sure it's a fine game, and one day I'd even maybe like to try it again. I'm not opposed to RPGs, but they're quite a big time commitment, and I just really was not ready for it. Also, in that game, there is a lot of goddamn talking, and so, you know, it didn't grab me quickly enough, so I ended up selling it. I also did that with Pikmin. I was just like, oh, I'm really bad at this game. And I kept wanting it to be like Pikmin 2, which is a little bit like more lenient with the time and stuff. And because that was the one that I was aware of, because someone probably picked up on a bus, always like talked about it. And even though he did the LP of Pikmin 1 first, I was more familiar with what Pikmin 2 was. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was expecting 1 to be like 2 for whatever reason. I also have been thinking a lot lately, in the midst of these, I mentioned either in the last Kim Possible video or the last LEGO Star Wars video. That's the thing with recording these the day that they come out and doing this, like, back and forth between this game and LEGO Star Wars, even though I am happy that I've managed to keep it going on a pretty consistent basis so far, even though I started this week a day late again, but I don't really think that matters. I talked about the Paramount Plus shows and how the spin-off of SpongeBob is on there. I found out that they actually uploaded the entire pilot episode to YouTube, so I think I might give that a watch just to see it. And also they had the trailer for the new Rugrats animated show. I don't know what happened to the CGI live-action hybrid Rugrats movie that was going to come out, but they should not make that because that sounds really bad. It was literally going to be, from what my understanding of the description of it was that the, like, environments and adults would be live action, but the babies would be CGI, and look like the cartoons, and that sounds horrifying. Don't know what fucking crocodile or bath salts the fucking person who came up with that was on, but don't need any of that in my children's films. Thank you very much. But with all that stuff, I generally am not a huge fan of, like, computer animated TV shows. They generally look kind of garbage, and I just have a soft spot for traditional animation just in general. But I miss the charm of old computer animation. Not that new computer animation can't look good, or I don't like any example of it. Like, it's not like there are no newer computer animated movies that I don't like. I can't really say much for shows, because I don't really watch any current computer animated shows. But, I mean, they are animated in a computer, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I miss old computer animation. It has this, like, charm to it, like 90s and early 2000s computer animation. Even, like, fairly low budget stuff. Obviously, like Jimmy Neutron. I mean, it doesn't look very good, but there's something about its, like, wonkiness and chunkiness that kind of works for it. And again, is charming in its own way in hindsight. VeggieTales as well, being a good Christian boy who was raised in Catholic school, saw a lot of VeggieTales in my day, and while there are a lot of things that are weird about VeggieTales in hindsight, chief among them the fact that the vegetables never seem to imply that God loves them. It's just about God loves people. I don't know, it was like a meme, but it is true that, like, when you think about it, VeggieTales is about sentient vegetables who worship a god that does not love them, does not recognize them, which is pretty funny. Also, like, the Mind's Eye movies, if anyone's ever heard of those, they were like these, basically computer animation demo reels that they made. They were like VHS tapes in the early 90s, and they're just collections of, like, weird, trippy, early CGI imagery. I just did a thing, like VPN number, or PIN number. Not VPN number. VPN network, or PIN number, or ATM machine. I did one of those things. I did a stupid. But yeah, the Mind's Eye movies, those are good. Set to great, like, kind of shoegazy, like, techno music. The best of it is by Jan Hammer, who's a fun composer of that variety. But it's sad that a lot of 2D animation, pretty much all 2D animation, is on TV now, and it's all digital, and a lot of it looks very similar. Everybody likes to talk about the shit on the quote-unquote Cal Arts aesthetic of, like Gravity Falls and Adventure Time and all those kinds of shows. And Steven Universe and stuff, and I don't really, I don't think it's necessarily a Cal Arts thing, but yeah, in general, the house style of most TV and film, especially the ones you find on streaming, which increasingly, and for the past year, and maybe foreseeable future, exclusively you find on streaming, especially those ones, the in-house style of most of it is becoming more and more homogenized and, like, glossy, and usually pretty, like, bland, in my opinion, and it's not very fun. And I could just go for some stuff that looks like other stuff, or is, you know, I don't know. I guess I don't have an issue with digital animation, digital 2D animation. Like, I know it makes things a lot easier, it's less expensive and scoobity-bop, but I just miss the way that looked on cells. I miss the way it looked. Although there are still some shows that do that. I know Legend of Korra, I'm pretty sure they did all the character animation on paper, which is pretty tight. I don't know if they still do that with SpongeBob. I think they are fully digitally animated now. Yeah, and of course everything is a reboot of everything now, or a spin-off or whatever, and that sucks as well. So this has become another video where I talk about how all culture is bad now. Media is bad. I do like things. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a bummer. Anyway, we're on a boat now, I suppose.
This double-crossing and stealing my greatest invention is unforgivable!